Hi, I'm Alana and we're making tin can crafts today. Let's see what we can make with these. Welcome to my crafting channel at Upcycling NZ. For this project today, I'm going to start with the pull top lids from my tin cans. I'm going to flatten these out. I'll just flatten them by hand to start with and then use my pliers to really flatten out any edges. You'll see I'm putting the tag out, and that's so that these will hang from the tag. I'm not worried about the difference in colour on the inside and outside of these tin lids because I'm going to paint them anyway, and I'm using a metallic acrylic paint, and this is in a copper finish. It's a very hard wearing paint. And it's water resistant rather than waterproof, so you wouldn't be able to hang this out in the rain, maybe on a porch or somewhere under the eaves. I'll just give all of these the first coat and then allow them to dry. Next, I'm using a piece that was left over from one of my large tins. I just used a can opener to open the top and bottom of the can and then cut down the sides. And I'm cutting out vertical strips. I'm using tin snips, and I don't think I need to tell you that you need to be very careful of those sharp edges. I've figured out how many lengths I want hanging down from my wind chime, and I've cut out as many pieces as I needed for that. I'm really liking that gold on one side of some of the tins, so I'm going to paint all the silver sides and leave that gold showing. Now you could use the smaller tins to make these. Again, you just cut the top and the bottom off, but you would need to flatten them out a little bit, probably with a hammer. Or you might like them with a little bit of a curve to them. I'll be using the lid of a large tin to hang all my danglies from, so I'll give that a quick coat as well to dry. Then I realised before putting second coats on that I needed to put holes in everything. So I'm taking a fairly small nail and I'm going to put a hole below the tag on my tin lids. I'll punch a hole into one end of my tin strips. And then on my large lid, I'm going to start at the centre and work my way out, putting in the amount of holes I needed for the amount of hangers I'm planning to put on this. And that can vary based on how you want your wind chime to look. I accidentally put an extra hole in there, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to take a tuna can, and that's going to go on top of the lid to add some stability and aesthetic. So I'll just punch a single hole into the centre of this one. Now to finish my painting, I'll do the first coats on anything that was unpainted and go ahead and do the second coats on everything. Alright, now that I have everything dried, I'm going to take some gold metallic paint and I'm going to just use my finger to add a little gold highlight to each of my pieces. I'm not going too crazy with it, it's just going to reflect the light ever so slightly and give a beautiful two-toned effect. The string I'll be using is a thread style fishing line. If you do have this type of fishing line, it does seem to hang better than the see-through style fishing lines, but you can use those, they're fine. I'm going to have to dye mine, so I'm taking a little bit of black paint and a little bit of water because I wanted a closer to black looking colour for my thread. You could also use some embroidery thread or twine. You just wouldn't want to go too thick with whatever it is you're using to hang your danglies from. Now I'll just take my thread out of my paint and I'll be drying that out on some greaseproof paper. Now that's dry, I'm going to take my thread, all of my copper painted pieces and some beads to start to assemble my wind chime. I'll measure out 4 strands about the length that I want and open up one end. Then with the loops at the other end, I'm taking a little brass ring. I'll thread the loops through and then I'll thread those ends through that loop and pull it tight, and there's a lark's head knot. And my wind chime will hang from that and it'll be nice and secure. Now I'll thread my fishing line through 4 of the outer holes in a symmetrical square shape, and this will provide a lot of stability for my wind chime. I need a stopper for my hanging system, so I'll take some copper beads. I collect my beads from thrift stores and disassemble old necklaces and things to reuse them. And I'll put one of those on each string. Then I'll go back in with the loose end and I'm going to thread that through that bead again, creating a loop to help to lock that bead in place. And I'm going to put it roughly at a measurement that I needed, although it didn't seem to matter because I had to adjust everything anyway afterwards. But I'm just going to make sure that my tin still fits on top of that, like a top hat. I'm going to be able to adjust that for a while, and then I just loosen up that original loop and thread my thread through that loop, creating a knot so that that bead's not going to move now. I'll continue to do that to each bead and keep testing it until I know that I've got it hanging nice and level. Now I'll take a mix of beads. Most of these are black beads with gold painted on them, so they have a little bit of a black background, and I'll put 3 on, small one, big one, then small one. And I'll start to attach my pull tab lids, and I'm using a knot. I don't know the name of it, sorry, but you basically go to tie a shoelace knot and then you run that extra end through the loop again and pull that tight. By loosening off the knot, you still have a little bit of adjustment left at this point, but once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to do another double shoelace knot, and that will lock that pull tab into place. This is how I'll lock in all of my elements for the rest of this project. Now I can weave my thread through the holes just so that it sits flat against that pull top lid. So I'm only really locking in the elements where I don't want them moving at all. So the beads are not locked in and the bottom of that pull top tab is not locked in. I'm putting another 3 beads on, but you can put this in any orientation that you like, and I'll let them hang loose. And then I'll finish off by putting one of my metal strips down at the bottom. And again, I'm going to use that double shoelace knot. So I'll continue and do all 4 strands just like this, and I'll trim off the little piece at the end about 1 centimetre away from the knot. So this is how all 4 strands look once they're completed, and I'm just checking that they are about level at the bottom. With the next strands, I'm going to take 2 double length strings, and I'm doing that because I want them to go through the top there directly opposite each other and create 2 strands underneath it, and these ones will be adjustable. So once I've got them finished, you'll be able to adjust them slightly as to how long they hang. Then I should be able to adjust them slightly for balance and for aesthetic. This time I'll have to work from one end of the string to the other, so I'm going to start with the strip of metal at the bottom and work my way up to where it will hang from my lid. I'll do both of these at the same time so I can get them roughly the same. Alright, now that first string's done, I'll thread it through my 2 opposing holes. And I'm not going through the centre, I'm just going side to side. And I'll pull them down to roughly the same length, and I'll lock in a bead at the top where I want the beads to start on the second string. Now I'll speed up the video so you don't get too bored. I'll finish that string and then I'll put my other strand in and repeat the process. Okay, so that's my last one. Now I'm going to start work on the very centre string. I'm doing this in exactly the same way. I'll do it super fast for you. Only the tin can pull lid is a little bit larger than the other ones, and that will go down the centre. I'll thread that through, then I'll add my tuna can lid and thread that through. Then to secure it on the top, I'm going to add a bead, double it through, then go back on that loop and do my double shoelace knot, and that will secure that nice and tight, and then I can trim off the end. And I'm just checking again to see how it's hanging. I've made 4 more danglies for around the outside of the tin lid, and I'll attach them the same way. So once I get all of these secured, I'm going to go and hang this outside and show you a few photos. Let me know what you think, and let me know whether you think I should be painting a little bit of turquoise on there to make that copper look eroded. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you're new to my channel, I post every week and I'll try to come up with something different every time to keep you interested. As always, I appreciate you all and thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.